This video is a massive warning to all Bitcoin bulls in the mid-term time frames. In this video, guys, we are going to have a look at a lot of different charts in Bitcoin, regular financial markets, a lot of charts that have an inverse correlation with Bitcoin, and we're just going to have a look at the structure, what's going on, and why I think, and this might be the most important point I want to make in today's video, why I think we need a catalyst in order to catapult the Bitcoin price into the acceleration phase of the bull market. So bear with me, stick till the end of this video. You're gonna get a lot of information, a lot of charts, and if you have an opposite opinion, or you have the same opinion, or you have different arguments for the opposite or same opinion, guys, drop them in the comment section down below. It's very important to open this discussion because we are trying to find the truth right here. We are really trying to just check what's going on, right? So let me start off with some charts from lookintobitcoin.com, and the first chart I want to show you is the 200-week moving average heat map, and this basically shows us the 200-week moving average. And as you can see, Bitcoin right now is clearly trading below the 200-week moving average, and you can actually use this argument for the bullish and bearish case simultaneously. I'm going to explain to you why. Because first of all, it's actually bearish when Bitcoin is losing such a key level, right? But on the other hand, every time it lost that key level, very short term, in a short moment, right here, for example, in March 2020, it was a great moment to accumulate. And that is going to be today the question as well. Is this a great moment to accumulate? Or is this showing basically weakness across the board? Well, guys, let me know what you think, because I definitely get a little bit cautious when I see Bitcoin trading below such a key moving average. But all in all, it also makes very much sense, because when we have a look at the stock to flow model, for example, we can also see the deviation, right? So in the beginning, the stock to flow is really being followed by the Bitcoin price. So this model was pretty accurate, because the red line right here is the fair value of Bitcoin based on its scarcity with the equation of the stock to flow model. And the color rainbow chart is basically the price of Bitcoin. And what we can see right here is also that this is the first time in history that we really get a really big deviation from the fair value of the stock to flow, right? And this can also be either bullish or bearish. That's why it's so confusing, because you can say, okay, well, when it's lower than the stock to flow, it's a great way to accumulate, right? Because based on scarcity, the value is actually higher. Well, that might be true. I think that's actually a good argument. But on the other hand, you can also say, like, the structure is clearly changing, because the times that we overshoot the stock to flow model is not that high anymore. And the moment that we undershoot, or the magnitude that we undershoot the fair value based on stock to flow, is way bigger than previous bear markets, right? So again, I would say you can make both arguments, but I'm going to lean a little bit more to the fact, or to the argument, that the structure of Bitcoin is slightly changing right here, and that it is less bullish than it was, for example, right here in 2017 or in 2021 or 2020. Then, guys, let's go to some other charts, because it will be very interesting. This is a crazy chart, and this is the regular financial markets. And what we can see right here is that we have the all-time high in 2021, 1 year bear market, and right now we get a move back up, which is quite a strong move, right? It doesn't really look like this move is a retracement, so it is quite a strong move, which is nice. Again, it's more a bullish signal than a bearish signal. But this chart is basically also a very big illusion, because if we look at this top here in 2021, it is actually, in terms of purchasing power, the same top as right here in 2020. And it doesn't look like that on this chart, because this is a new all-time high, right? And this is the previous all-time high before that high. But actually it is, because this crash ignited a massive amount of new money that was being printed into the economy, and this chart actually shows it very good. Here we can see that this high right here was 2020. This high was 2021, and right now, even though it looks like we are still below the all-time high, we actually touched that resistance, which is kind of crazy because this is a massive resistance we got rejected from multiple times. Here we got rejected from this resistance in 2020. Here we got rejected from this resistance in 2021 at the top of the bull market, right? So that those tops are actually quite similar. Although here you can see the top in 220 and the top in 221. It looks like a big difference. It looks like this was a full-blown bull market and major uptrend, right? But in hindsight, or like if we look at the M2 money supply, it was not really. Right, it's not really, because that newly created money that was being stimulated into the economy went to the stock market, which means that the amount of circulating supply of dollars right here is way higher than right here. So the value of your stock in terms of purchasing power is the same on March or like beginning 2020 as it is right now or when it was at the top of the bull market. So that makes it a little bit confusing, right? So it looks like we have some massive resistance right here where we get rejected from in the regular financial markets. And this, funny, coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, it's also the same level in 2008, right before the massive housing market crisis, the fall of the Lehman Brothers. That was, guys, at the levels that we are trading right now. So that is also kind of crazy, I would say. So it would be very, very bullish for the regular financial markets if we can break above this level. If we can break above this level, I would definitely think that this is a nice neckline that is being broken and that we can go to that resistance right here, which means that we are going to enter territory in the regular financial markets, which we haven't seen since the year 2001. So that we haven't been in that territory for 23 years. Think about that, guys. That is actually really crazy. So right now we haven't broke that resistance to the upside. We haven't seen a breakout. So therefore I think we also have to be a little bit cautious, as this chart is very correlated with the Bitcoin chart. I would like to see this chart breaking that horizontal resistance on this S&P 500 chart divided by the money supply. So I don't need to see it directly on this chart, because this chart is a kind of a illusion, because this doesn't take into consideration the money supply. I really would like to see it on this chart. That would be very, very bullish. But so far we haven't seen that yet. Then, guys, I want to bring you to another chart. This is the Dixie. That is the US dollar index, and the Dixie is well known to have an inverse correlation with the regular financial markets, but also with Bitcoin, as Bitcoin and the regular financial markets are quite correlated, right? And that's because of their risk characteristic. So when there is an appetite for risk within investors, they go through all these markets. They go to the S&P 500, stock market, Bitcoin, also a part of that. And when there is no appetite for risk, they won't go to these markets. They more prefer to be into the US dollar. And I'm going to explain later when this risk appetite basically comes. But what we see in the Dixie is that we had a declining channel right here. We broke that channel to the upside, had a massive rally in the Dixie. That's just kind of crazy. And right now we're coming down. The former resistance is turning into support. We had a declining channel right here, and it looks like we clearly get a breakout to the upside right here on the weekly time frame, surpassing the previous high right here. So the Dixie, which is an inverse chart, is also looking quite bullish. And this is, do take in mind, guys, this is a weekly time frame. So we have to see it for what it is, right? I mean, if today the Dixie get a correction and Bitcoin is going to rally, has nothing to do directly with the weekly time frame. So another chart I want to bring up to you, which is a chart I've been sharing a lot right here on the channel, is the stablecoin dominance. This is also a inverse chart with the Bitcoin price, which basically means that this works the same as the Dixie. When this chart goes up, Bitcoin goes down, and vice versa. And every time we touched the resistance right here. It was a massive low for Bitcoin, and when this chart goes down, Bitcoin went on a massive rally. So here you can also see in June 2022 we had this top, but also in December and January 2022-23, that was when we had the FTX collapse, right? So that was marking the bear market low basically for Bitcoin, and we can see the top in this chart. And this chart is showing a falling wedge formation breaking out to the upside, and definitely is looking bullish. Like if this would be an altcoin, if this would be the regular financial markets, you would look at this chart and think like, whoa, this chart actually looks quite strong, is in a very long-term uptrend. So I would say this is another chart that makes me a little bit cautious. So what we are seeing right here, and that is what really is grabbing my attention, is we have all these inverse charts with Bitcoin that are looking very bullish, right? The regular financial markets are at extreme important crossroads, touching a 23-year long resistance level, which we haven't been breaching for 23 years. And that brings me to the next point, and that is the risk appetite and the money, basically the fundamentals of how the economy works. And what we can see normally, guys, is there is a very clear correlation between the creation of money and the Federal Reserve asset balance sheet and the regular financial markets. So whenever the creation of money is increasing and is going up, and whenever the Federal Reserve balance sheet is going up, we are seeing most of that money ending up in the regular financial markets. So when the money printer goes on, it always takes a little bit of time, but then the regular financial markets go up and eventually dragging Bitcoin up as well, because people are in the mood for risk, because they know a lot of money is being injected into the economy. They know that their dollars will for sure lose value because of this newly created money. So they are looking to protect their capital. So that's why they go to the stock market or they go to Bitcoin, right? And so far, right now, we're not yet seeing that. So we haven't seen that change in the structure of the fundamentals of the economy, that we see a reason for money to be printed. We see like something happening, and that is what really bothers me a little bit, because the liquidity in the crypto markets right now is super dry. There is really low liquidity, which is kind of dangerous because it makes it really prone to manipulation, right? If you have like less money right now, it's easier to manipulate the price. In the shorter term time frame, I don't really believe in manipulation on the longer term time frame, because on both sides liquidity will run dry at some time. So you cannot fake the price higher, because if you fake it a little bit higher, soon the liquidity will be gone and it will go down again, right? It's the same as the other way around. If Bitcoin really is looking bullish or is fundamentally really bullish, and you try to manipulate it down by creating panic and selling Bitcoin on the market, you can only come this far, because you will always have that fundament of buyers, true believers, that will enter and like defend that low, right? So that is something also I want to point out. Manipulation is not there for longer term time frames. However, it is possible on shorter term time frames. Heck, I even see it with myself. If I drop a big altcoin bag over on the markets, on the exchange, I can see the price basically going down, or when I buy to see the price going up. But we are just really seeing a lot of warning signals across the board. And can this change? Yes. But is it changed already? No. And that's the point I want to make right here, because this is still looking bullish. The Dixie is still looking bullish. The S&P 500 is knocking on resistance, which we haven't been breaking above since 2023. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Have we already done it? No. And could this be a huge inverse head and shoulders formation with a left shoulder here, head in the middle, right shoulder right there? Yes, that is definitely possible. And a breakout would be completely bullish, but we haven't seen that breakout yet, right? So I think there are definitely a lot of arguments to be made for the bullish and bearish case right now. However, the structures right now on these charts, on the Dixie, on the stablecoin dominance, on the regular financial markets, right, on things like this we are seeing on Bitcoin, the change of structure are telling me right now that we have to be careful, basically. We have to be cautious at least in the midterm time frame, as there is a lot of strength in inverse correlated charts. However, whenever this is changing, it will also mean the opposite. So whenever this would go break down, that would be insanely bullish for Bitcoin. That would be so bullish, because that means we broke a uptrending structure which has been holding since 2019 to the downside, and creates a lot of liquidity that can enter into Bitcoin. So yeah, guys, this is what I'm seeing in the chart, and I'm very, very curious what you see. Do you see the same thing as me, or are you bullish on Bitcoin? Tell me in the comment section down below. In my opinion, I really think we need a catalyst for Bitcoin in order to become more bullish, to see somewhat of a replication of 2020, where we have this massive liquidation event followed by the crisis, money printer goes on, and Bitcoin is being catapulted in the acceleration phase of the bull market. I think something like that we need, and I think it's also coming. We can already see a lot of news articles talking about crisis, talking about the next thing that is coming. So definitely something on the horizon. Just for right now, when we look at all these charts, Dixie, US dollar, Theta or USDC stable, dominance, and these charts are just all very, very bullish, and they're all inverse correlated with Bitcoin, which makes me just very, very cautious in the midterm and maybe even in the short-term time frame as well. Also, the funding rates, we can see that people are starting to long Bitcoin again, which also shows me that there is still some confidence in the markets, right? And we got that very bullish news about the Bitcoin spot ETF, which eventually led for the Bitcoin price to go down. So yeah, all in all, I would say I would lean a little bit more to the bearish side, but I will also tell you this, guys, the moment we can change this structure in these charts, so we can see the Dixie, maybe see the Dixie topping, we can see the stablecoin dominance breaking down, we can see Bitcoin reclaim the 200-week moving average, I will instantly turn back bullish again. But until that happens, I'm going to remain sidelined, and I'm going to wait and see what is going to happen with the price, which I think has a higher likelihood to continue to go down. Okay, guys, that was it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, smash up that like button. That is very much appreciated. If you want to stay connected, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever we upload very important videos. If you want extra information, make sure to join WhaleAlerts, the private Telegram channel, which you can join by just signing up on one of these exchanges down below. I wish you all a beautiful day, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video.